Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of A Different Point of View. I'm Konate, your host, and without further ado, let's get into today's topic. So I want to talk about the recent overturning of Roe versus Wade. But before I get into this, I do want to be very sober to the fact that I am not a woman. I do not know what it's like to carry a baby, and I certainly don't know what it's like to have to make the decision to terminate a pregnancy. I got it. But with that said, it does not take away, it does not automatically disqualify a certain level of common sense as well as pragmaticness. So with that said, there have been protests all over the country because people are upset with the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Just take a look for yourself.
Workers have been taking to the streets in protest in response to Friday's Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams say they will do everything they can to protect access to abortion in New York, including for those from out of state. CBS 2's Christina Fan is live in Union Square, where a protest is set for this afternoon. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Cindy. Even though this decision was a long time coming, protesters say it was nonetheless painful. A second day of nationwide protests is expected to take off soon, and organizers say this country cannot afford to wait until November's election to take action. Instead, they argue that civil rights were won on the streets. Outside Bryant Park, at least 20 protesters were arrested overnight for blocking 42nd Street.
No charges will be placed against you.
Intent on sending a message to the Supreme Court following a 5-4 blockbuster ruling overturning Roe versus Wade, which gave women nationwide the right to an abortion. Instead, the controversial issue goes back to the states to set their own laws.
I'm scared and I'm horrified and I'm sick.
Earlier Friday, thousands of women marched from Union Square to Washington Square Park. Many incredulous protections they fought for decades ago were rolled back.
You are going to face the anger of women and our allies all across the country, and we're not going to let up.
Abortion is our right. We all get our right.
So in typical modern day fashion, we take sound bites of information and we run with the sound bite. And we get all emotional. We start protesting. We start rioting. We start screaming in the streets over a soundbite. And as American citizens and as intelligent human beings, it behooves us to be connoisseurs of all of the facts, not just a soundbite. So let me fill in all of the facts. The rights to abortion has not ended in this country. Actually, a very large percentage of Americans, or should I say women, still have access to abortions. What the Supreme Court has said is that abortion is an issue that is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution. And because it is not specifically mentioned in the Constitution, it falls into the sovereignty of the states. So the states will decide access to abortions, limitations on abortion. So instead of screaming and yelling in the streets, your attack needs to be more strategic and less emotional. So if you support abortion, if you support a woman's rights to choose, blocking traffic, yelling in the streets, threatening Supreme Court justices, that's not going to do you anything, especially for a decision that has already been made. What you need to do, the proper approach, is to have this conversation on a state level. Have this conversation with your governors. Find out where your governor stands on this. Find out where your state assembly stands on this. And if your governor and if the people in your state assembly do not if they're not holding true to what your views are, to what's important to you, then you vote them out of office. And And I mean, like, we're screaming in the street, but most people don't even know who their state senator is. They don't know who their state assembly person is, but you want to yell in the street. You want to block traffic. How about you know who those people are? How about you make your attack more meaningful? And I'm going to tell you something. It doesn't take a lot of votes to get somebody in or out of office who holds the seats in the state legislature. That is where your attack is. And even in a state like Mississippi, in which this case was brought to the Supreme Court, it's saying that you have 16 weeks. And after 16 weeks, it becomes a conversation of, is this an embryo? Or is this a fetus? Is this an actual life with a heartbeat and operating lungs? Is it murder? These are the conversations that are had. So let's look at all the facts and let's take action that will get you the results that you want. Now, I want to take a minute and talk to Black women specifically, because there is a lot of conversation on how this ruling will disproportionately affect Black women. So let's have that conversation. So, my body, my choice. And I agree with you. I mean, I agree with that sentiment that your body, your choice. But so let's stay with that mantra, okay? And let's talk about choices. You also have the choice to be more sexually responsible. You have that choice. You also have the choice to not continue to support women or support music that over-sexualizes Black women. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Black women are over-sexualized in this country. And you will hold the Supreme Court accountable, and you have that choice, but you also have a choice to not to continue to support Black women who over-sexualize our little girls, who over-sexualize our youth. You want to scream and yell at the Supreme Court, but how about you have women like Meg Thee Stallion, you have Cardi B, you have City Girls, and these are women who continuously over-sexualize little Black girls, teach little Black girls how to twerk, and teach little Black girls how to use their sexuality as a weapon. And instead of choosing, because we're having a conversation about choice, instead of choosing to hold them accountable, you will give them the keys to the city. You give them BET awards. You give them Grammys. So if you want to have a conversation about choice, then let's have a conversation about choice. You do have the choice to be abstinent. You do have the choice to wait. You do have the choice to to conceive a child in a marriage situation. Yes, you have these choices. So if we're going to have, at some point, we have to have a conversation about accountability. Now, Black women, the other argument or the other concern is that the restrictions on the access to abortions will overwhelmingly affect Black women because Black women have more abortions than other women. According to the Center for Disease Control, Black women are having abortions out of every 1,000, over 24% of them are Black women, which is double Latino women and triple white women. Latino women are at about 11.7%, white women are at about 6.6%. So the question becomes why? Why are Black women having abortions at a much higher rate? Now, I guess some they have been given some reasons for this, and here are some of the reasons that I'm stumbled upon. So just take a look and see.
And next, the ongoing aftershocks from the social and political earthquake rocking the United States this week. That is the leak of that Supreme Court draft opinion which would overturn Roe v. Wade, the 1973 ruling giving women the constitutional right to choose. Many fear this would disproportionately impact minority communities. Farai Chideya is an award-winning journalist, and she's host of the podcast Our Body Politic, which focuses on how women of color experience and shape major political events. And here she is speaking to Michelle Martin about it.
Thanks, Christiane. Farai Chideya, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Michelle. Really grateful to be here.
So you've had a long career as a journalist, and in your latest work, you've been digging in particularly on the issue of Black women in our public and civic life. One statistic that's always jumped out is the fact that Black women tend to be more likely to get abortions than other demographic groups are in the United States. I mean, in 2019, like 38% of the abortions that were done in America were done on Black women, who are only 13% of the population. 33% were done on white women or were obtained by white women, and 21% by people who identify as Hispanic. Why do you think that is?
It's money, pure and simple, and medical access. There are many people who, when they go in for the occasional reproductive health check, whether it's related to an unwanted pregnancy or just in general, that might be, one of the few times that they see a doctor. The lack of medical access in America is unparalleled in any other developed nation, and it really, fluctuates by income. And so if you are someone, Black Americans have, 1/10 of the wealth of white Americans in the best of times. It's gone up to the racial wealth gap at times is, 13 times less wealth, less likely to have jobs with benefits. You're living in a country where your health benefits are often indexed to your job. And so simply a lot of people don't have primary health care providers.
Okay. So I've heard those arguments. And I get it. I get that a lot of Black women have less access to proper medical care. I get that Black women may not have a lot of the birth control options that maybe some other women have. I understand that. I also understand that abortions tend to fall under class lines. So people below the poverty line tend to have more abortions. Okay, got it. But I'm sorry, I have to ask, how much does a condom cost? I mean, are we trying to suggest that Black women are so far below the poverty line that you can't afford a condom? I mean, again, I'm sorry. We have to have a conversation of, sexual responsibility. Even though I do choose a woman's right to choose, I get it. But if we're having abortions 4, 5, 6 months into a pregnancy, what right did that unborn child have to choose? Where was their choice? And these are the arguments that are going to be presented. And I understand that we cannot choose what social class we're born into a lot of times. We often cannot choose what schools we go to and what neighborhoods we live in. And I get that. But outside of rape or some type of sexual assault, you can choose. This is your choice, women. This is who you have sex with, how you have sex, where you have sex, the terms in which you have sex. You have that choice. And in the mantra of your body, your choice, Well, then let's have that conversation on all fronts. Your body, your choice. Right. So maybe there should be better choices made on how you're having sex, when you're having sex, and making better choices with your body. That goes both ways. I also have to address that, of course, many black women, many Americans are calling this Roe versus Wade. They're saying that it has an element of racism to it. And the reason why they're saying that it's an element of racism is because, once again, this will disproportionately affect black women. And I understand your argument. The problem is that we need to be more consistent about it, because the original argument was that the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger, was actually a eugenist. And by that, certain people should not be allowed to procreate. And certain people should not be allowed to have babies, and which is why Planned Parenthood, or should I say Planned Parenthood abortion clinics, were disproportionately in black neighborhoods. And over the course of decades, 15 million black babies have been aborted. And we're talking about, if all those abortions hadn't been taking place, we would have double the population right now. So there is a racist conversation there that abortion is an attempt at population control. Okay, so how are we going to have it? Are we going to say that this access to abortion and this is racist? Or are we going to say, well, now that we're limiting access to abortion, is that racist? I mean, we can't have both arguments. So which one is it? So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours. Again, being the fact that I'm not a woman, I do not have all the answers. I would love to hear some of your answers. I would love to hear your comments. So please, like, share, comment, reply, just share with me, enlighten me. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of A Different Point of View. Share the merch, Paper Chaser. Please support the merch. And again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of A Different Point of View. Peace.